Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Okay, so the last video, I actually received a a request for a voiced video, basically explaining what exactly I'm doing and why. So I am testing out this voice format again. Not very well versed in it because usually I don't do that. So if there's any problems, technical difficulties, whatever, please forgive me. I haven't done this in quite a while. Okay, so basically today what we are converting is the Asuma from Naruto. So what I did is basically I just went to this modelresources.com where they have a whole bunch of Naruto models. The best one so far currently is from Shinobi Striker. So I actually got the hair and the outfit from this model. So basically I just download this and I download this. Okay, so other than that, the other one is because this game does not have him as a model, as in with a face and all that. So what I did is I went to the Storm 4, Naruto Storm 4. I actually have all the files downloaded, which I have them here, right? So I have the entire data. So I found his model and I will be copying his face and beard from this model, and then everything else will be from the Shinobi Striker model, which is much higher polygon. So basically Blender has a plugin that allows you to import the format for Storm 4, right? So because of this, I can just go straight to the Storm 4 and actually import the model itself. So like so. So we have this as the Asuma's import, which I don't actually think there is any textures applied to this at the moment. Yep, nothing. So it's all white color. Okay. Actually, if I'm not wrong, he has the weapons here as well. Asuma's weapon. There we go. So Asuma's weapon. So I'll just copy this as well. Okay, so basically this is what I have to work with. And let's see what's this. I can delete this, and I think I can delete this as well. So they have a trench knife also in this model. We'll see how well this one works. So I'll just keep this first. Click on the eye icon to hide it. I'm sure most people already know all this. So for Naruto models specifically, these can be removed. These are basically the speed lines. And then the LOD one can also be removed. And since I'm not using the, oh dear. There we go. These can be removed. And this delete hierarchy will be easier. Delete hierarchy and delete hierarchy and delete hierarchy. Okay. So other than that, this is the mouth, teeth, tongue, and upper thing. All these I can remove because I'm not using any of those. So the hierarchy. I'm sorry, the face will be needed. These can be removed. The body and the hair also can be removed. So delete. So basically, I just basically deleted everything. So this is the beard and this is the face, which is in two pieces for some weird reason. So let me see, where is my, is it this one? There we go. So now you can see the buttons that I'm using just in case. So merge by distance, and I should have them all merged. And this is the eyes, and this is the face. Okay, so this is the what they call it, skeleton, which I don't think I will need to use this at all. Okay, so next will be to import in a body. So download OBJ. I have them all exported under my warp tree inside my warp. But if you don't have it, you can actually export it from the dust directly. Just make sure that you keep the what do you call it, autos moving remove, so that they it is the base mesh. Okay, so we have the M where is it, GFM. Okay, but what I want to use is actually the muscle, because Asuma is fairly, big size, fairly muscular. So I think I want to use this as a base instead. Okay, so click on this triangle thing to make sure that you cannot select it accidentally. And then I will move this down a little bit and in a little bit. Grab B. Okay. Roughly around the mouth will be easiest. Okay, so the reason for this, right, is because the most troublesome part of fixing the mesh later on is actually the mouth. So you want them to align with the lips as best as it can. For this kind of anime model, it doesn't really matter if you don't have the eyes, because you're not using them anyway, right? So I'm gonna hide all this for now. Actually, I will hide this. Oh, wow. So basically, this is what we have to work with. So I will export this face first to wrap tree, and Asuma, sorry, face. Okay, and then I will export the OBJ for that. This I will use for the wrap tree model. Then I will want to import in the others. So downloads. Let me just, okay, so I will extract all of this. And this is hair. So here's a DAE. So I will import as DAE and downloads. There. Should be this one. Okay, so need to, oh, that's huge. Okay. If that's the case, I think I better import all of them. So DAE, outfit, top, and bottom. And then I will import, I'll leave the knife for later. Okay, so click this again to disable the selection of the original body, and then we want to resize the head itself. Hello, good morning. Just to verify, can you hear my voice speaking? Just checking. Can you hear my voice speaking? All right, awesome. Okay, so at least this thing is working now. Okay, so as I was mentioning, you want to resize this entire thing. So just and shrink the whole thing down. Okay, so let me unhide the mask and do a rough estimate of where it's supposed to be. Something like that, roughly. Okay, so just so you know, this body, right, is not actually Asuma's body. Awesome. Okay, so great. As long as you all can hear me, because I'm not actually very used to speaking during this live stream thing. So forgive me if there's any error. So where was I? Oh yeah. So as mentioned, the hair and the body for this game, right, for Shinobi Strikers, they are actually sized for the default body. So it's not actually Azuma's own body. So I'll need to do a bit of resizing later. But for now, we just need it to be roughly roughly where it's supposed to be. So, and that should be enough. We will do the rest later on. Okay, so let me just hide all this. And then I'll need to do a bit of collection as well to organize things properly. So this is the pants and this is the vest. So let me just select the hierarchy and put them in. Okay, so Suma coding and yeah. Oh, thank you very much. First, what do you call that? Super chat. I think this is the first one I've ever gotten. Thank you very much. Okay, so select hierarchy, and this is basically just for organization purposes. So I'll just make sure that everything is easy to find later when I need to. Okay, so for animated hair, this is actually more or less what that's more or less done. Other models might be more complicated. Okay, so I already have most of this set up. Yeah. Okay, so I already have most of this set up. So I'm not sure you want me to go through this entire thing. I actually kind of don't really remember how to set this up already because I've been using this for quite some time. Sorry, I need this mail. So this is just for the head only. Hello, Sneaky Toe. Okay, so where was I? Okay, texture wise, I don't think it actually matters because Asuma basically is just the head and the beard, which is a single color if I don't remember wrongly. So I think we can just leave the texture alone. That will save a lot of time. Basically, you can just remove this entire part and this entire part. So what it does is that you only transfer the mesh. So the textures we will deal with it outside elsewhere. Then this will speed up the entire process a lot, because most of the time the heavy part of warping is actually the texture transfer. Okay, so I just need to load in the Asuma's hair face and go to the visual editor, press F so you can see the face, and you can more or less start to match points. So in this case, fairly straightforward. So you just see the eyes, match the eyes point. At least this kind of anime for Naruto in particular, the face isn't all that complicated. So the eyes also isn't like the super huge difference compared to some of the other animated, like for example Dragon Ball, that is a pain. But this one, more or less, you still can do a bit of shaping and that will do it. Okay, so basically you just match the points. So here, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 14 can be used. Okay, so 12, 13, and 14. Usually 14 will be at the end of the chin, but as you can see, the chin it's not in existence right now, so we just leave that alone. For the ears, right, we put the points in basically because I am relatively lazy, so it's faster to put in the points than to delete the points here, to be honest. Okay, but I will actually maintain the, how to put it, I will keep the ears from the actual model later. So from the base model later. So we will push them up into shape in Blender later during the cleanup phase. Okay, so after that, in the select polygon section, I will block out the top of the head. So roughly here. Okay, so the reason for that, right, is because the top of the head is, and the back of the entire back of the head doesn't have any polygons, so no point keeping them there, right? So just a bit of cleanup here. Roughly. Okay, then we can go to check here, which you can see most of that is the whole front of it is also can be blocked out. Okay, so roughly something like that. I'll just leave the chin alone. Later I can smoothen it out because the gap isn't that big. Okay, so we'll give it a try and see what happens. You know, if it doesn't blow up, it should be good. Okay, so note wise, if I'm going to have to, I can go through the notes. Oh, okay. So we have a weird, we have a pretty weird head. So we need to do quite a bit of cleanup. Okay, so note wise, right? This one down here, if you use this program, if you right click, you can actually add in the notes, right? So I don't usually use most of them, so I'll just go through very quickly the ones that I do use. Actually, let me just open a new one because I actually just now deleted some of the notes that I normally will be in use. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so the load image basically is what it says. So if you click down here, you can load in an image. So usually use this image is loading in for the mesh. So load geometry, GEOM geometry. So this one is to the mesh itself. Select polygons for, like in this particular case, you will want to select the polygon of the mesh. in this particular case is you are selecting the mesh to be included inside the select point. So select polygon can be used in a number of places, but you do need to know like what exactly are you trying to do, right? So subset is basically you're chopping out half the part of the polygon. Basically, in this case, is the selected polygons will be removed from the selection, right? Then after that, it will be sent into the select point. So this select point is, as you know, where we select all the points for the warping itself, for the wrapping. Okay, so in this case, we have another select point here, which is used to exclude the polygon from the wrapping phase, which is what we use down here. So we selected the polygons here, and then it is excluded from the wrap, which is why you get the mesh down here. So it's a bit of a mess. You need to clean that up later as well. Then apply subset is basically applying it's basically a reverse of the subset. Whatever that is taken out here, it will be added back in here again, right? So what we took out here is basically the rest of the body. So only the face is available to do the matching. Then apply subset will add in all the faces back, right? And then down here is another select polygon, which is to remove the what do you call it, to include the faces for the replace. So basically this replace will replace like the load geometry is linked to the replace, and then the subset, whatever that's added to it, will go to the second node. And for the replace, right, you actually replace the node of the subset from the main geometry. That means you're basically replacing the warp model with original. So for what I use with it, it's like, for example, in this case, I select like, for example, if you go to this part here, oh dear, just give me a moment. Okay, so if you come here and you look at the model, this is what you get. Okay, so because of this, what you want to do is you want to come here and replace the neck. So neck and neck upper. Okay, so when you do that, and then you go back to the replace, you will see that the neck is at least better, right? Then the next thing I will want to replace will be the ears, which, as I mentioned just now, I will be dealing them in Blender. Okay, so you can see down here, you have the ears, you have the back of the head, and all that is being replaced. Then Asuma's face is here. So it's still a bit of a mess down here, which we also need to deal with. Then eye socket, that will be the other one to replace. So you can see this is what you get in the final result. So from there, you will how to put it, you clean up in Blender most of this mess down here. Okay, so save geometry will actually save out the face. So if you have others, like for example, in this case, this is the transfer texture node. So back to the explanation for the node usage. So transfer texture basically is if you are taking the textures from here, the original model, and then after you selected the points, you will transfer this texture to this mesh, basically transferring the texture to be able to be used with your resulting mesh, right? Then let me find a model to use. Oh dear, since I'm not working on any female models, I don't think I have a texture. Let me get a male model out, at least I have something to show. No, so transfer texture. So basically you want to have a base texture here first. So in this case, I have I will show something like this. So this is my previous project. Okay, so I will do a simple wrap, and then they'll mess around with that for quite some time. The wrap will take a while because now there's a lot more things to deal with since it's a full body. Okay, so let me see what other questions they have at the meantime. Mostly you got wonky eyelids with anime style. Yeah, that one can't be helped because the reason for that is because the shape of dust figure eyes, which is G8M or G8F, more realistic style. So the morph that they have doesn't transfer well to animated anime eyes. So you will find that you need to do manual posting with them most of the time. Okay, so next question. Is there any other questions? I will try to use replace mode on my next model. Okay. Does eye socket relates with eyelids when transfer morph to dust? No, actually. The eyelid is actually to the face. So if you have a, let me see. So if you have this one down here, the eyelid will actually be at the surface of the here. Will be on the surface. Oh dear. What's wrong with this now suddenly? I can't seem to select things properly. Okay, so it will be linked somewhere here, which is actually on the face. The eye socket is inside. So if you look at the something is wrong. Suddenly everything is very slow. Okay, so if you look at the eye socket, so if you select the eye socket, right, it's actually at the inside. Actually, I should hide the eyeball first. So eye socket is actually just here. So this is the eye socket. So it has nothing to do with the eyelid. Cause I got messed up a lot with do morph with it. I am not sure what you mean by this sentence, to be honest. The eye socket is basically the reason why I morphed that. Okay, so the reason why I morph eye socket, right, is basically so that you have a shape to work with the face. So instead of the eye socket just now, you notice the eye socket is all over the place. So instead of that, we have something that you can work with down here, and there's actually inside of the eyes instead of everywhere. So this is just to make things easier. Okay, so now that I've transferred the texture, so this is what you get. So you have the body of the texture that's initially is like that. So this is the actual body for the figure itself, right? But it cannot be used with dust because the dust UV layout is different. So the transfer texture, what it does is that it actually transfer this texture to be used onto this mesh. So now you have a proper texture. Then you extrapolate the image so that it actually goes, that the color will actually goes beyond the selected blank space. Then you save out the texture. Okay, so because of this, right, it is easier to work with when you are doing the textures, because otherwise there will actually be a line down here and it will make things quite troublesome. Especially useful for things like if you have tattoos or if you have anything that is onto the line across the shoulder and across the neck. That's where the dust UV has most problems with. So if anybody with tattoo over one shoulder, like most wrestlers or some like the COD Call of Duty, there's this lady called Mara. Her tattoos on the arm gave me a lot of trouble when I converted her. Okay, so after this, the save geometry, and down here the same thing, save image. They do the same thing. They basically save out the resulting items. So in this case, they save the image, and in this case, they save the geometry. So I will just rename it to Asuma head. Okay, so I'll just compute current frame. They will actually save a copy of this particular OBJ. Okay, then you can go back to Blender and import the resulting OBJ, which is here. So I have them here. And then quite important is the keep word order. So usually when you screw up the model, this is a very, very big cost of it. Okay, so import the OBJ, you have a tremendously huge, this is due to the scaling that I'm using. So I just scale it down and then I will shade smooth. Okay, this is a weird problem that comes with, if I'm not wrong, 2.8, Blender 2.8 starting from there. They just shade flat when they import. I'm not sure why, but anyway, you just shade smooth. So now you have Asuma's the head. So I'll get rid of that. So this is what you'll have to work with. Okay, so first things first is to smooth out all this. So we have down here and just to smooth them a little bit. Later we'll do a bit of sculpting to properly smoothen them. So normal. Something like that. So and then you fit in the beard. Hide the face. I'm sorry. Hide the face and the beard. Okay, so we have this roughly working, more or less. Okay, so just to make sure that after that we just need to make sure that the face itself is where does this eyes come from? Oh, right, these two. Okay, so something like that. So this is the roughly the face. Then next, what you need to do is just to fix everything else. Okay, so first is the neck area here. I just want to smoothen out this part. I think I might need to expand the head a little bit, to be honest. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten rid of the body. Okay, so let me just import the body again. Okay, so size-wise is about there. I can work with this. So this is roughly what you get. Then just need to smoothen out all these parts here. Okay, so for anime, right, the good thing about anime is that usually the face is symmetrical. So you can actually just use the mirror and topo mirror and, you know, smoothen things out. And if you smoothen them out here, sorry, I just need to a little bit lower. So if you smoothen that out here, the other side will be smoothened as well. So it saves you half the time. Okay, so something like that. And then the eyes, I will hide them. For eyes specifically, you cannot use the topology mirror. So you must use as just the mirror alone. Because otherwise the other one won't move. You get weird things like this. Okay, so if you do get weird things like this, what you can do is you can go to mesh and snap to symmetry. Okay, and that should fix the problem usually. Okay, so that is how you move the eyes. and then the mouth. So key points is usually the mouth, the eyes, and the nose, as you can see down here. So let me see. Can't do eyelids close perfectly after doing. Yeah, that's a common problem with animated eyes. Can't be helped. So yep, Mera is a problematic one. At least I only need to do that once. Though later on somebody did commission other Call of Duty model that caused me a lot of problem also. Okay, so when you want to move the mouth, you need to select both the teeth and the mouth here. Okay, select, and then you want to reduce the selection by 1, right? So that this part down here will not move because this is the mouth line. Okay, so next is make sure that the proportion editing is off so that you only move the mouth, and then you can resize it as you see fit so that it fits this model properly. Okay, and then you do a bit of smoothing here and a bit of smoothing there, and your mouth excuse me, your mouth should more or less be done. So relax a little bit, smooth a little bit, you know. And also if you want to make sure that the mouth is closed when you transfer them over to dust, what you do is that you need to put a subdivision. Okay, so the reason for that, right, is because dust by default already has a subdivide modifier applied to all the Genesis model. So because of this, right, if you don't subdivide, then what happens that is even if you close the mouth here, hold on. Okay, so even if you close the mouth here, close. Okay, so even if you close the mouth here and the subdivide modifier is applied, bam, you got another gap down here, right? So what you do is that you put in a subdivide here, but this is only a temporary measure. It's just to enable you to visualize how the mesh will be affected when it's imported into dust, right? So from here, you close the mouth from here. Okay. And so after you do this, remove this modifier and export the mesh like this. Then when you import it into dust, after the smoothing modifier is applied, the mouth is still closed. Okay, so this is how you deal with mouth randomly opening when you convert them to dust. So next is the nostril, which I will hide. I will smoothen it out completely because animated nose. Okay, so first I will smooth them and then I will move them. And then, sorry, more, moving them around. Try not to affect the outer rim of it too much because that is the shape of the nose after it is wrapped. So best not to move that around too much. Okay, so you just move it roughly into shape, into place. As long as the outer part isn't affected, it should be fine. And then smooth. Of course, you won't be able to get a proper, completely smooth down here because there's just too many polygons here. So what we'll do after that is to go to sculpting mode and then press hold shift and you will use the smoothing tool, or you can come down here to use the smoothing tool as well, which is one of these. And I can't remember which one, sorry, but it's easier to just hold shift and just smooth out this part here. Okay, and then use the crest tool to give the nose shape, retain the nose shape more or less. Okay, so smooth it out a little bit here, move it in, and so you can see the preview of this is how the nose would look like, more or less. And also this part down here, I'm not sure what you call that, the little hole that you have just above your lips. Anime characters don't have that, so you need to smooth that out as well. Okay, so a combination of edit tool smoothing and the sculpting tool smoothing should get you a pretty good result, something like that, right? Then after you have the eyes smoothened, just a little tip for animated items, what you want to do is to select the eye socket. Okay, preferably select only one. I'm sorry. Just one, and then use the mirroring tool to deal with the rest. Deal with the other side, and make sure that this is off and move it all the way up like that. Move it all the way in. Okay, so the reason for this, right, is so that you can put in the eyes easily without needing to worry about fitting this particular mesh to the eyes. Okay, so you can see that it's actually fitted relatively well. So this is how you go about that. Okay, so now we have the beard. Just make sure that it's fitted relatively closely. I'll be honest, I don't really deal with bearded figures, especially animated bearded figures. In fact, if I'm not wrong, this is my first bearded animated figure. So just make sure that the beard and the face fits the beard, basically. So smooth in a bit here and give it a bit of a line here. I'm using this with a mouse right now, just so you know, because it's fairly minor adjustments, so I don't really need to pull out my tablet for this right now. But if I have any, like this particular model isn't too bad, so if I have any really troublesome shaping that I need done, that is when I will pull out the tablet. Okay, so the head itself doesn't really matter because it is more or less hidden under the hair. So all you need to do is just to make sure that the back of the neck is thick enough so that it actually covers the hair. Not say cover, sorry. It actually fits roughly into where the hair would be. And make sure it's a bit thicker because this guy is a big guy, and more or less let me push this in a little bit. Okay, then I will deal with this a little bit as well. Okay, so something like that. So now you have a fairly close approximation of what Asuma would look like, more or less. Okay, so let me see more messages. Mouth not closed, perfect is well mouth. Yeah, this problem caused me a lot of issues when I first started this thing until I figure out the that does actually a subdivision modifier. Then after that, it's much easier. Okay, you're very welcome. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so now you have the body and the head more or less done. The hair is fitted to it, the beard is fitted to it. You have your eyes. Let me just put in the texture. Wait a minute. Did I actually export the texture for? I don't think I did. Noses, export texture. And done. Okay, so I'll just need to find. Got the folder name wrong. So let me just move it to the correct place. That's in X. So paste. Okay, so refresh. Asuma and it's the eyes. That's so small. Oh, I think I deleted off his eyelashes also. Good thing I actually have one of these. Mm, let me just get rid of all this here. Seems like this guy doesn't have any uh, eyelids. That's pretty weird. Oh, he really doesn't have any eyelids. So just let me load in his face texture and see what we are working with. Okay, so basically the only thing I need to take out is this. Okay, so duplicate and then P to separate. So eyelashes. Then we have the eyebrow. Same thing, duplicate P and eyebrow. Okay, then we have the eye line, which is this one down here. Oh, this is a bit different. We can do a bit of chopping. Oh, one moment, sorry, I got a phone call. Hello, 什么事？ Yes. 明天来给我。Yeah, sorry about that. Where was I? I am not sure. Right. Press the wrong button. So sorry. So, if I'm not wrong, Asuma actually is is older model. So because of this, his mesh isn't that properly. How to put it? Isn't very optimized, which is why this eye line down here isn't very fitting. So same thing, we'll clean up the eye this eye line part later. Okay, so next will be this wrinkle down here. We can do the same thing. Face wrinkle. All right, so and this face more or less we won't really need. And you have this here. Okay, so the easiest way to deal with face for animated, right, is to fit them to the eyelashes. So let me hide the eyes. Okay, so if you see down here, you will see that this is the shape of the eyes, which is the normal dust figure eyes, and this is the shape of the eyes for the anime style. So what you want to do is you want to fit them roughly to where the anime eyelashes would be, and then you can refine it later using some of the sculpt tools, right? So just move them around a little bit. You can use sometimes you can use the rotate tool as well. Just don't do it too often because it'll interfere with the morphs later. Okay, so something like that. So then you have a rough eye shape for your animated figure. Anime based figure, so not animated figure. My mistake. And something like that. Then you can refine it later, right? So the same thing with the eyebrow. So you can actually move the face mesh out a little bit. And the eye wrinkle section as well. So roughly something like that. So now you have the rough shape of the eyes. You can start to refine it from here. Okay, so this part will actually be one of the more boring parts because it's basically a lot of polygon moving. Right, so this is the time when I will actually pull out the tablet. So just give me a moment to let me get it up. Oh, hey, thank you very much, Michael Zucher. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Thank you very much for your super chat. How to fix distorted mesh? To help. If not, I'm not sure how exactly to help because most of the time with my tablet, uh, I will do a little bit of smoothing and adjusting from here. Okay, so first is the sculpting mode, and I will use a very small size and smooth out this part down here. And then I will sharpen the edge down here. So this line, I will sharpen the edge using the control button to invert the function. So in this case, this is a crease which actually makes a line in the mesh. So you have it like something like that. So you can make a line inside you'll push the mesh. You'll push the mesh downwards. So if you hold the control key, you'll actually reverse this function and sharpens the mesh and move the mesh upwards, right? So you can use this to make a sharp edge, which is what I'm trying to do down here now to make it an edge down here, right? Then you'll push in the eye socket a little bit so as to not interfere. Slightly bigger. Smoothen out this part here and move it in here a little bit. Okay, then you press G, you will actually change it to the grab mesh tool, which is useful for moving things around. So if you have it in a bigger scale, you can move more things, right? So I have seen people using just this one tool alone to create an entire mesh out of it. It's fairly impressive. An entire figure, in fact, an entire person, as in human figure, just using this pull mesh to pull the base spear into a human figure. So then you can see a gap down here. So you will need to move this thing out a little bit, right? And that will cover up the eye line, which we will need to deal with later as well. So as mentioned, this is the slightly more boring part. It's basically just a lot of mesh moving and plugging things here and there, pushing it here and there, just to make sure that everything fits properly. So we have them roughly around here. So make it a bit smaller, smoothen this out a little bit. I'm sorry, push this in a little bit, and then we can make it smaller still, sculpt the line so that this eye wrinkle can be shown without being affected too much on the mesh side. Okay, and you can see down here more stuff to grab out. So you can at any time hold the shift key to smoothen out the selection a little bit so that you can makes it a little bit smoother. Okay, move this, move this out a little bit. like so. So you have the line wrinkle, the mesh. Another way to deal with these kind of things is if you just directly draw them onto the texture itself. So that might make things easier sometimes. Though in this particular case, I think it's better to leave it as a mesh so that you can keep the wrinkle or remove them as you wish, you know. So something like that. Okay, so object mode, you can put in a mirror modifier, and you will notice that you need to thicken this up a little bit here. So it's useful. This way you can see that when you're working with it here, you can see problems here. So from there you will be able to make it better from both sides. So you can see like this. So you see that it actually covers up the gap, and then you can smoothen it up from here, move it out a little bit. Use this particular option, which will push it up, push the line or the mesh outwards. So it's also useful that way. So you can actually straighten the lines here and smoothen it out here a little bit. Etc. Right, so just to make sure I didn't screw things up, this is the beard. Right, see, this is where we move it a bit too far, so we need to move it back a little bit. Then the other one that you need to do with also is the ears, which, as I mentioned just now, is something that we need to move it around as well. So now that we are in the sculpting mode, it is a good time to move it around. So oh yeah, before that, something that will be useful is if you use this automask topology. It actually works in a similar way to if you go to edit mode, you have this proportional editing. So it's basically the same thing. So instead of moving the entire thing around, you will just move just the part that you selected, right? Okay, and the one thing I like about sculpting mode is that you can actually move the mesh like so without affecting too much on this side. So you can actually just come in here and try to smooth out the mesh itself without too much trouble, like so. Okay, so we just need to move these things around, smoothen it out a little bit here. a bit too far. And go in a little bit. Basically, just to fit the normal ear to the same shape or the same place as the animated ear, right? So something like that. And then you'll see that the inside is a little bit wonky, so you need to move that around as well. Make sure you don't move too far that you lose the shape. So something like that. Okay, so just a bit of smoothing, a bit of general cleaning up. Okay, the head shape, luckily we don't need to do much with it because most of it will actually be covered by the hair anyway. So we have this guy, right? So most of it will be covered up by the hair, so you don't need to do too much to it. And this is roughly the face, the head, more or less. Okay, so you just need to mirror this and this and this. Okay, so something like that. And what I normally like to do is to make everything into quartz. And oops, just a little bit movement here. And just a little bit more here. Okay, so turn it to quartz and then throw in subdivide. Because for Naruto mesh in particular, they are usually fairly low poly, due to being PS3 games as a base, for especially for non those NPC characters like Asuma is. So his is usually fairly very low poly. In fact, if I'm not wrong, most of his model is from the PS2 era. So because of this, you do need to give him a little bit more polygons in some of his meshes so that at least you look a bit more decent when comparing when adding into his very high poly strikers model, right? So and then at the same time a bit more refining just to make sure everything is in its proper place. Like so. Okay, so another thing that will be useful sometimes. Hold on. Another thing that will be useful sometimes is to give this part down here the inside edge of the um, eyelashes. An additional kind of like a additional edge into the eyes, so that will make it when later you put in the actual eyelid, the actual pupil, it will be easier for it to, you won't have any issues like when if there's any gap in between here, then this part will actually cover it up. Yeah, sorry if I'm not making sense. I am kind of running low on sleep right now. Yeah, so currently again I'm just moving polygons around. Oops. Right. So moving polygons again. There's a lot of it when you're doing this job. and more or less something like that. Okay, so you have the eyes, and there you go. Then next will be the body itself. So let me hide this and this, and we have the body. Okay, so as you can see, do is okay, let me go back to the normal screen first. Will you be doing the dust setup work tonight? Yes, I will. I will try to finish off this entire model if I can. And really nice work. Thank you very much for your compliment. Okay, so as I mentioned, this model originally wasn't really meant to be used with the original body. So Asuma, for example, this one is basically the default character. So that's why it looks so small. So what I would want to do right now is to show the skeleton first. I like to use stick. It's easier to see, right? So we have the Asuma face here. So we'll get rid of all the skin. That is this part. Delete. And delete. Okay. Then I'll break down the body. Okay, so these two bracelets separate out. It's easier to do it that way. Testing, testing, testing. So sorry, my microphone is going a bit haywire. Sorry, I just need to check a bit of setting. Right, sorry about that. Where was I? Okay, so don't think I need to do much with this because they are really very good model, very high quality already. So I don't think I need to mess with them too much. I only usually mess with models if their mesh isn't that good. So I'll separate out the shoes and these socks. These the pants. Or I should call them sandals. Sandals. Okay, so I'll just keep this closed first. And then next will be to fit this clothing to Asuma. So this is the legs. Yeah. Okay, a little something that might be useful for people is to know how Blender deal with mirrored mesh, mirrored skeleton, right? So if you have say pose and x-axis, you can actually move both sides together because of the way the mesh is used. So if you find it doing funny things that's not supposed to, like for example in this case, I want it to, oh, okay, it's working well. Okay, no problem. So with this, I will just oh, okay, so this is a problem. If you notice, uh, it might help to use this function. It doesn't work all the time, but it can help. So what you do is you recalculate the bone roll. So I usually just use the first one and see if it works. No, it doesn't work. And that is because, if I'm not wrong, this is actually in the opposite direction. Okay, so we do it the old-fashioned way, which is no mirror. And using numbers. Okay, so from here, I will apply the bones. So after this, you won't be able to use the skeleton to move things around. Oh, question. Did outfit when need to import to dust it did not do on the G8 basic? Okay, so if you want it to fit all the clothing, then yes, you want to fit it to Genesis 8, the basic. But for the things that I do, basically, I just want it to fit to this specific character. I don't need it to fit to every single character. So because of this, I don't bother. I mean, the proper how to put it, the correct way, if you are trying to make a dust product, is to fit it to the basic Genesis, and then at the same time also fit it to the other figure, so that when you use the morph, the body morph, it will actually use the clothing that is fitted to that particular morph, and then because it's also fitted to basic, you can use it for every other clothing. But that will basically take up a lot more time. So because of this, I generally don't do that. So yeah, that's the reason why. Okay, so from here I will move. This is the this is what I do initially at the most basic level. Last time I do this all the time. Basically fitting clothings to dust to Genesis to everything. Unfortunately, in this case, mirror does not work, so we have to do it separately and try to approximate the best way to fit this properly. So more or less done with this part. This could go really, really wrong because of this part down here, the armpit area, because the arm, since it's so muscular, it actually goes into the body. So we might have a problem with rigging later on. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, things goes well. If not, I'll have to redo this entire part to make it fit into the normal dust body before putting it in a expanded size. So hopefully this goes well. So before you export the body, make sure that the subdivision is removed. Otherwise, you will not be able to import it into dust. And then when you when you export the mesh, make sure that this vertex order is kept, because this is the vital item. Most of the time, if you fail in transferring your model, this will be the cause, the reason why. Okay, so just make sure that you keep that checked. Can you make a dust armpit morph of the muscle guy that has the armpit smoothed apart and apply that to fix the texture? Probably can. Might not. I'm not sure whether it will work or not, because dust of the way dust morph works, you should be able to, but in this case, I might have made a mistake. As in, it might have been better to fit this to the normal dust morph and then use it as a and use the auto fit to use the muscular morph instead. So that might have been a mistake on my part. We'll see how it goes first. Hopefully the deforce method that I usually use can prevent this problem. But if not, it's not the end of the world. It's not really that hard to fix. It's just a bit more troublesome. So I might do that off camera, to be honest, because that would take a little bit of time to fix. But in the meantime, I can still show all the other parts first. So that might help you guys. So yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so this part is basically what I have. This is a what do you call it, a preset of the normal dust figure. So this is the default basic dust. What I did is I actually loaded in this, then using this developers kits head splitter deformer. So I add that in and then I save it as a preset so that every single time when I load in this model, it will actually be done already for me. So this will make it easier for me to use the morph. So in this case, say for example, Naruto Sarutobi Asuma Umo, right? Then this part is the name of it. So I'll split it between the head morph and the body morph. And this is where you the position of it inside the data folder. Okay, so you use the deformer for the head, right? Is the normal strength 1 deformer. Then if you use it for the body, it will be deformer -1. So basically what it does is that this deformer will this is the deformer. So the red part is the one that's affected and the yellow part is halfway affected and the rest is not affected. So if it's 1, which is the head, this will be the part that's affected. -1 is this part will not be affected and everything else will be. So this is how you differentiate between the body morph and the head morph. Okay. Then next is look for the morph itself. So we have them here. Okay, and favorite it and use this shape rigger plus, which is very convenient for dealing with shapes morph. Which technically I don't really need to because this is basically the muscle morph, so I can actually use that instead. But just to make things easier and also to show you guys how to use your own custom body morph. So this is how you go about it. And save. Okay, so your data, if you go to the data genesis data, this is where I keep the morph. So it will be shown under Genesis 8 male morph, then my username and Naruto, which is here. Then here. So the data, this is your morph data will be keep under here. So when you want to share it out, you will need to include these files as well. Okay, so done. have already a default animated skin that I use all the time. Which basically has the body and the nipple already attached. So I just need to, oops, sorry about that. So this is the skin color, and then I just, oh dear, uh, error, sorry. All right, the layer is transparent, so you can actually overlay over with whatever color. But just now I accidentally fill in the color, so there we go, and export. So for anime characters, right, you usually don't need a lot of details, so you can get away with solid colors for skin. If you want to use it like for normal other items, that might not be the best way to go about it. So just so you know. And there you go, basic Asuma. So I just need to fit everything else. So you just need to transfer utility, most of it, over so that it moves with the face when you do things with when you move the face around, then it will be able to move along with the face. I'm sorry. I think I'm starting to be sorry for the question, but how to import hair bones from XPS to DAS? Basic step is to import the hair to Blender and then export that. What the way I use it is I would have, like for example in this particular case, if I really want to, where are the bones? If I really want to, I would have exported this skeleton as a MMD. So after exporting it as a MMD, right, you can import it from thus import as MMD. But you will need a plugin for that. So for the eyes movement, I'm using what I call texture offset. I'm not sure what is the official name, that's what I call it. So what happens is that because this eyes is basically a plane, so what you want to do is to move the texture. So in this case, you have this horizontal offset and vertical offset. So when you move the horizontal offset, it moves the eyes. Like so. So that's how you move the eyes using my system. Okay, so for that, the head itself, I'm not going to move it at all. So the eyes, I will leave it there. Okay, so just doing most of the transferring. Eyelashes will be a special case. That one's a little bit more complicated. So I am just transferring everything else into its proper place first. So okay, so after transferring the rig, next thing what I like to do is to transfer to put in the morph again back as original. So you have the original model that you loaded in as the morph. So the reason for that, right, is because you will be able to like when you use the morph for the face, for example, the mesh might get distorted. So because of this, when you do a morph from the original model, then you will be able to replace and make sure that the morph isn't distorted by your face morph. so the mesh itself won't be distorted. So in this case, for example, the hair and all that, can just show you. So if you notice that there's a slight movement. So this slight movement, right, is basically the result of the face morph, and the way that it actually transfer the rigging over. So using the mesh, the original mesh as the morph target, you will be able to eliminate all these small errors. Can you recommend good resources for setting up characters in Dust step by step of all the transferring and saving? I honestly have no idea. It would be great to know how you learn all this, basically by trial and error. I'll be very honest. It's basically trial and error. I have been doing this more or less 5 years, 6 years now, about 6 years now, and in most of this I learn through trial and error and also through Google searches. So I honestly have no idea where to find a proper step by step learning process. Mainly because I don't learn that way myself. I learn it through trial and error. So sorry, I can't really help you. Okay, so eyelashes. This is the more interesting part. So what you do is basically you take the eyelashes or the original eyelash, and you transfer the rigging from the eyelash to the eyelash. Okay, so this is the setting that I use. Yeah, so I transfer over, and then now these eyelashes will be missing. But even if you move it now, let me see. There's my pose control and my head. So even if you move it now, it actually doesn't. The eyelashes doesn't move along. So how you fix that is if you use the transfer utility again, from the base model to the eyelashes, but this time, very important, you make sure all of these are unchecked. Then I will reverse source and smoothing. Okay, so this is the setting for the second time eyelashes. So after you set that, then I will go back and in this eyelashes morph again. Okay, and then there's this setting under general that is smoothing weight, which is here. Okay, so you zero that. So okay, so basically this will make fix the face to this to the eyelashes to the face, so that when you do a close, where is it? Eyes close, the eyelashes will follow, but it will not follow perfectly. This is mainly due to the limitations of the mesh and the rig. So nothing much I really can do about it. So sorry. Yeah. So animated eyes generally are a pain. But can't be helped because this is about the limit that I personally know of. I have not seen any other ways. I mean, I have not seen anybody transfer eyelashes at all. In fact, so I have no idea how other people do it. And this is the way that I figure out more or less so far. So it's not perfect, but it is the best I know how to do right now. Okay, so there we go. So now you have all the more or less looking quite well. So all the morphs are dialed in, and this is the result that you get. So after this is done, you can actually delete off all the rest, and most of this you can put into the head. Normally that's what I'll do. Okay, then the way to save it, the way I save it is I will save one copy of the wearable. So all of these are actually considered as a wearable. So first I will save the hair by itself. So save item. So save asset. What they call it? Sorry. Save as, support asset, and figure and props asset. So this is the normal way to save props and accessories. And most clothing also, actually, now that I think about it. So that is the one that we use. And the hair, I also use this for hair when saving them anyway. So Naruto and new Naruto no Asuma. Okay, so this is just my own way of organizing. You can do it however you like it. So there is a, if I'm not wrong, does have their own system, but I don't follow that, to be honest. So this is basically my own way of saving it. So if you find a better way for yourself, then yeah, go ahead with that. So next you want to the product name. Vendor name is your own name. So the product name will be actually the file name for your system. So for example, in my case, I'll be going to data. This is my username, then Naruto, and open a new folder for Asuma. Right, and then inside there, I separate out by hair and by outfit. So hair, and then I will save copy the name from after the username, this entire string, throw it inside here. Okay, and then put in the context type, the content type. This one is mainly used for smart content. Actually, to be honest, I don't really do that, but you know, it's just another one more extra step, so I don't really mind. Okay, so you save this, and you will be able to see it here. So you have the hair here. So it will be saved into this file here, and also the data here. So data is one file, and your content is another file. So they will both be saved down here, right? Then next is I will save wearable, as I mentioned. So save wearable. Naruto Asuma, and I'll save it under character. Again, this is just my way of organizing, so no right, no wrong. I think there is an official system, but I don't really follow that. So yeah, actually I don't even know what is the official system, to be honest. Okay, so wearable, and this one I will exclude the hair, so everything else will be under this wearable. So if you have a new character, like if you dial the entire thing in from scratch, then you just need to apply that wearable, and all the hair and the eyelashes and eyebrow and all that will be applied to your model as well. So that's the reason for it. And it also makes it very easy if you want to do it Genesis 8.1 morph. It makes it very easy. Okay, so after the wearable, next is to save a shape preset, which is this. So shape preset basically just tells does where to find the morph that is used for this body. So in this case, it is here. Naruto and Asuma. So this files here. So when you apply this preset, it will actually apply the morph that you specify. Okay, then lastly is to save the, not say lastly, in this particular step, is to save the material for the skin. So after you set up all your skin already, this is where you save them. So Naruto and skin material. Okay, and this is about it. So next is to save a scene preset. So scene preset will save everything that's currently on the screen on the scene right now. So this is useful because you just need to click one time and have this figure with everything applied to it right now, whatever that's on screen down here. So it is useful in this manner. Okay. And that's it for the characters. So you've got all the characters. Basically, that's how they will be set up if you follow my system anyway. So you can come up with your own way of saving the files, just as long as all the essential files are included when you share them with other people, then other people will be able to use your organization as well. So that's how you go about it. Then next I would import all the clothing. Then transfer rig, and then it will be more or less done. At least for this particular clothing. So, interesting trick that I learned not too long ago is that you don't actually need to find the files from here, this menu. You can actually open up the folder and just drag in. It makes things a lot faster, a lot easier. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't, then time to redo. But let's see how bad the damage is. And it's pretty decent. Okay, so you do have a bit of cleaning up to do, like down here. So what you do is you need to clean up the weight mapping, which is this part here. Okay, we might have some problems. So so this part is gonna be a little bit ugly. Basically, what I'm trying to do now is to smooth out uh, the weight map. Okay, so it doesn't, so it's not so bad. And then what I will do next is I will take this one, I will add in a deforce, and then I'm gonna make this entire part deforce so that they will actually flow. How to put it? They'll actually flow properly, so to speak. And if this part works, then won't have any problem. If it doesn't work, then as I mentioned, you have to go back and redo. So what I'm going to do now is I will set up. So the first thing is under simulated settings, you add in the default dynamic surfaces. Then you go to surface and select the texture. Make sure this part is here. So once you see all these beige color settings, right, that is the default setting. Then I found this product is actually I use it quite a long time already, which is the default master. Okay, so the only thing that I really use it for is this particular one called the explosion fix. So when you apply that, it will actually put in these two settings down here. And what happens is that it will greatly reduce the chance of the entire thing exploding when you simulate the deforce. Right? So next is to add in a create modifier weight node. Okay, so this one will basically allows you to determine which part is affected by the deforce and which part isn't. So select all, and then I will fill in selection 0. Okay, so now nothing is being affected by the deforce. Then you paint in the parts that you want to be affected by the deforce. So here, and then smoothen it out a little bit. This part here, this part here. And make sure that any part that you do not want it to be deforced does not have any color. Right? So something like that. Then save, quite important because the defaults can cause things to go really bad. So it is better to have a save file, basically. And then you press the simulate button and pray that everything works out properly. And this doesn't look good. Yep, we would have some problems. I think I'll need to adjust the mesh itself a little bit from here. Because you see this part down here, the jagged edges and all that doesn't really translate that well. So I'll probably need to fix this clothing. Probably I'll need to do that off screen. I can't. It'll take some time to fix. Yeah. So other than that, this is basically the how you go about it. Okay, then you just do the same thing. That is to say, transfer rate to all the clothing, and then you save the clothing, and you're basically done. Okay, so with this, then you just save them separately. So in this case, I would save outfit. So same thing. Just go the location where previously I save it with the outfit, if you remember. So here, oh yeah, you do the same thing with the clothing as well. So I forgot about this one. So sorry. So you uh, apply it's the original model as a morph again. So like so. So then you save out this clothing again. For pants in particular, one thing you want to check is also like when you move this here, you have a bit of a stretching down there. So what you can do is you can do a bit of a weight map altering. So the pants and the pelvis. And adjust from there. Okay, so at least it doesn't look so ridiculous. And that's about it. Now just save it as a wearable preset. So you go to wearable. So the same thing. You just need to click once to wear all the outfit, which is the reason why I have an additional folder down here. So I put all the components here and the outfit itself, the wearable outfit inside here. So you notice that if there's a triangle, then you notice the parts down here you don't want. Then make sure that it's not saved. So in my case, I will save wearable. And make sure the parts that you don't want save to be unticked. So in my case, I will untick this and all the body parts which you don't want inside the outfit preset. Okay, so accept, and you will have all the outfits available. As in all the parts of the outfit will be loaded all at once when you use the wearable preset. And that's about it. At this point, normally what I'll do is I will post the figure and then I will render it and upload. So in this case, I think I will stop the live stream here. I will fix this upper body. Actually, now I think I will need some sleep first because I'm running on, I don't know, 16 hours now. So just now when I'm speaking, I'm a little bit incoherent. I'm sorry about that. So once I get some sleep, I will fix this model, then I'll upload it. So thank you very much for watching. I'm ending the live stream here for today. Hope this is helpful for you, and good luck with your own endeavors. Yeah, thanks. So ending now. Night.